So I'm sort of curious if you ever
Really
felt
interesting. I never thought about that. That's so interesting. No, well, clearly not, because I didn't even make that connection until you said that just now.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Emma, so good to see you again. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. I'm so obsessed with this movie and your performance. I'm going to jump into this. This might be a stupid, ridiculous question. I apologize if it is, but the first time I ever interviewed you was back in 2010 for Easy A, which is a movie that I feel like kind of holds some kind of a spiritual kinship with this movie because both are, I guess, in their own way, partly about women taking control of sex in their own lives. So I'm sort of curious if you ever
Really
felt.
interesting. I never thought about that.
Okay, well, that's what I was gonna ask if you ever felt a connection, or like, do you ever draw from in the same way that Bella is drawing from past experiences every single day? Do you ever draw from past characters?
That's so interesting. No, well, clearly not, because I didn't even make that connection until you said that just now. Um, I think, well, I don't know that like in work, I draw from past characters per se, but I think that each each character you get to play sort of informs what you want to explore next, or if you're lucky enough to have choice, which of course for an actor is not always the case. Um, but yeah, it sort of informs what parts you want to explore, or what stories you're drawn to, or what challenges you're seeking out. But yeah, that's so funny. That's such a funny kind of really
I
interesting.
was so afraid I was going to ask it, and you were going to be like, "What the hell is wrong with you? That makes no sense whatsoever."
No,
So
I totally get it.
I appreciate you. This is one of my favorite character arcs I've seen in my entire life. Just the journey that you make from beginning to end is so beautiful. And I was wondering if you could compare your first day on set playing Bella to your last day, because not only has the character changed so much, but you've had so much going on between those 2 days. And I was wondering if you could just compare first to last, your first action to your last cut, and tell me how one compared to the other.
My first day on set, I cried because I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. This is insane. Like, I am going to screw this up in such a major way. I cared so deeply. I mean, Bella is my favorite character ever. So and we've been talking about this film for almost 5 years. It was finally time to shoot. And I was like, what am I going to, it was very beginning of her experience. It was very, very, I cried. Because I was, terrified. And the last day, I couldn't stop crying all day because the last thing I wanted to do was let her go. So it was tears on both sides from first action to last cut, but for very different reasons.
Beautiful, but all beautiful in between. I'm going to cut you loose on this. So much of this film is about how men start to treat Bella differently as she develops intelligence and starts thinking for herself and making decisions for herself. I am sort of curious how much of that or something similar you've experienced in this business as you have started producing and you've started figuring out this industry and you have found success and you've won an Oscar. What are some of the more interesting ways that you've maybe discovered people treating you differently?
Oh no, I think I don't know that I focus on that as much as I focus on like how I feel in the experiences, or my own hopefully growth and understanding of where my voice could be helpful or necessary, or isn't, where I don't need to drive myself crazy to try to prove something or do whatever, so I don't know if I focus as much on the outside in as the inside out, and that's just therapy.
I mean, hey, tears bookending either
Therapy,
way.
great friends, that and a little vice once in a while, if you know what I mean.
We all deserve it. Emma, I love you. I've loved interviewing you for so long. Thank you for always being so kind. And congratulations. It's one of my favorite performances I've ever seen. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.